Welcome to Headline to Heartline. Every runway tells us not only what is coming, but what we are ready to leave behind. This is a spoiler-free review of The Devil Wears Prada 2, and the reason it matters is simple. Some movies are not just movies, they are reunions. We remember where we were when Miranda Priestly swept into that office, when Andy Sachs tried to keep up, and when fashion felt like armor, aspiration, punishment, and fantasy all at once. Now, 20 years later, we are back in that world. The Devil Wears Prada 2 brings back Meryl Streep as Miranda Priestly, Anne Hathaway as Andy Sachs, Emily Blunt as Emily Charlton, and Stanley Tucci as Nigel. After seeing an early screening, I can say this. It is not a perfect movie, but it is an enjoyable one. It is not great, exactly. Some parts drag. Some scenes could be sharper. Some of the writing does not have the effortless snap of the original. But big picture, the movie understands what people came for, and it delivers with affection, polish, and a clear respect for why the first film lasted. The fashion is gorgeous. The production is stunning. The songs are wonderful. The vibe is fun. And Meryl Streep, unsurprisingly, remains amazing. She still has that quiet power, that icy pause, that glance that makes everyone in the room suddenly aware of their own shoes, posture, and mistakes. What is interesting this time is that Miranda is not treated in quite the same way. In the first film, she was terrifying, glamorous, brilliant, and cruel. She was the boss people feared, and the movie let us feel the thrill of that fear. In the sequel, the world around her has changed. Workplace culture has changed. People are more willing to name bad behavior. A boss who once seemed untouchable now feels in some ways like a figure from another era. So is Miranda no longer a villain? I would say she is still Miranda. She is still difficult. She is still intimidating. She still represents a kind of excellence that can become punishing when it forgets the people underneath it. But the movie seems less interested in making her the monster at the center of the story, and more interested in showing what happens when an old kind of power meets a new kind of power. That is where the sequel becomes more interesting than expected. Today, the toxic boss does not always arrive in a designer coat with a frozen stare. Sometimes the new toxic boss smiles more, uses friendlier language, and still finds ways to make people feel disposable. The old world said, do better or leave. The new world sometimes says, we are all family here, while quietly asking people to give more than they can afford. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy thoughtful, spoiler-free reviews that go a little deeper than thumbs up or thumbs down. As a sequel, The Devil Wears Prada 2 does what it needs to do. If you liked the first movie, you will probably like this one. If you loved the first movie, you may not love the second in quite the same way, but I think you will still have a good time. It is a likable movie. It knows its audience. It knows the lines people remember, the rooms people want to revisit, and the characters people came back to see. Would I call it peak cinema? Absolutely not. Would I call it high art? No. But I also do not think it needed to be. Sometimes a movie's job is not to change your life. Sometimes its job is to give you 2 hours of sparkle, style, nostalgia, and escape. And this one does that. There is something refreshing about a movie that understands its assignment. It does not try to reinvent everything. It does not punish the audience for wanting pleasure. It gives fans a reason to go to the theater, hear the music, enjoy the clothes, and feel the fun of returning to a world that once meant something to them. On its own merits, I would give it a 7 out of 10. As a sequel that knows people want the glamour, the characters, the attitude, and the familiar pleasures of the first film, I would give it a 9 out of 10. So let us average that out to an 8 out of 10. Worth watching? Yes. Especially if you were already looking forward to it. And if you are a real fan of the first movie, I do think this is one to see in the theater. The production is too polished, the music too fun, and the fashion too central to save entirely for a small screen. This is the kind of sequel that benefits from being seen with other people, especially people who understand why Miranda walking into a room still changes the temperature. So my final feeling is this: The Devil Wears Prada 2 is not a masterpiece, but it is not a disappointment. It is stylish, fun, faithful, a little uneven, and very watchable. It brings back characters many people have missed, and it lets us enjoy them without pretending that the world has stayed frozen in 2006. And maybe that is why the Miranda question matters. She may no longer be the simple villain of the story, but she has not been turned into a saint either. She is more like a final look on an old runway, still powerful, still beautifully controlled, but now asking us to notice what has changed around it. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, like this video, and come back for more stories that move from headline to heartline. Until next time, may every runway remind us not only where style has been, but where we are brave enough to walk next.